Okay, it's time. Earlier this year, I was talking to my friend about my favorite albums at the time, and he told me, at the end of the year, maybe you should make a video about it. And it kind of stuck with me because I've never done it before. But you know what? I feel like this is the year to do it because of how good it was. So this is going to be my favorite albums of 2022. And I strongly emphasize favorite because I'm not going to call it the best albums. My number one is not going to be a lot of people's number ones. So it's all going to be different opinions. The whole list is opinion based. So it's very lightheartedly my favorite albums of the year. The list primarily consists of hip hop, rap, and R&B. So let's get it started. So first, I'm going to start off with the honorable mentions. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I kind of want to go in deep into the actual top 10. But there was just a lot that came out this year, and I want to give praise to the people that put out good stuff. First, starting off is Gunna DS4. Next is Dawn FM by The Weeknd. Coming in next is Saba with Few Good Things, another amazing album. One Way is an amazing song, and 2012 is one of my favorite songs of the year. He has a great Mariba feature, which I love any song that Mariba's on. He has a great song with Black and Smino, so I mean, he does his thing. Next is Tana Talk 4 by Benny the Butcher. My second favorite in Griselda, right behind Boldy. He doesn't really disappoint. Johnny P's it opens up with Johnny P's Caddy, which is, in my opinion, one of the best songs of the year. And he has great features from Stove God Cooks. And I love any song with him and Boldy together. A great song with him and Conway. He just continues to impress on everything he's on. So next is Sick by Earl Sweatshirt. Now it sucks that this came out so early in the year. And another thing about it is similar to like his last two albums. They're so short. But at the end of the day, that's not necessarily a bad thing because I feel like he does such a good job of getting his point across from song to song. Each song kind of blends into the next. 2010 is an amazing song. Tabula Rosa with Arm & Hammer is great. He has a lot of songs with like Alchemist production. I feel like the best part about listening to Earl is how vague and subliminal his lyrics are, and kind of depicting what he means with his imagery is like part of the fun of listening to him, because what is this guy even talking about half the time? I really don't know. I feel like half his lyrics are probably inside jokes with him and his friends, where it's like, if you know, you know, and if you don't, then sucks to suck. But just another great album under his belt. And even though he's been dropping really consistent, right? Like 3 albums in 4 years. And he's really developing into his next stage as an artist. I don't think he's even close to, I wouldn't even say he's hit his prime or his peak. I feel like he's just kind of now entering it because there's so much. I feel like he's done so much. Like he took that whole time lapse between his last album and then some rap songs. Then came out with Feet of Clay, and now this. So I feel like he really is in a different mode now. It's great to see. Next is Giveon with Give or Take. He has such a great and signature voice. I wouldn't necessarily say he has his own style of production. I feel like a lot of his like beats he chooses are pretty basic, but they also fit him so well because of how he has his own style of singing. So I feel like it blends really well together, and the whole album from start to finish really leads into the great story that he's telling throughout the whole thing. I'm excited to hear more. He's gonna be here for a while, man. I feel like he definitely has a bright future. His songwriting ability is great, and I feel like he has so much more to get to of what he wants to do here. So coming in next for the honorable mentions is Steve Lacy. Gemini writes, we gotta admit, I don't care how overplayed the song is, how overplayed the song was, how people can say how overhyped it is, whatever. Bad Habit is one of the best songs of the year. We gotta admit it. But either way, a great project. It's so short and sweet, but each song has its own story to tell. Great job from him. Next is Destroy Lonely with No Stylist, and another unironic best song of the year. I should be saying my favorite. Like No Stylist is amazing. I don't care how overplayed that is on TikTok. That did become like a TikTok song, but that's another one, well deserved. People I saw for a while before the album came out, people were saying that Destroy Lonely has the potential to be like the best under that Opium label. and I never heard a song from him before the album came out because I wanted to wait for him to put out something that I can listen to. But people were saying that he's really good. I listened to the album. He's proved to be the most diverse in Opium. He definitely has his own sound, but a great job from him, a great debut, and he's making so much noise with what he's been doing. His tour seems crazy. Even his like the 3 deluxe songs he put out is great. So he's gonna be here for a while too, man. He's gonna be able to come out with banger after banger. I'm really excited for his future. Next is Fair Exchange, No Robbery by Bodie James. Bodie has his like super simple monotone voice that could sound, repetitive on each song because he doesn't necessarily change up his style too often. But just the way he delivers is so good. His delivery is so, impactful throughout the songs. And, collabing with Nick Craven, and it has great production. The whole thing seems calculated. So, great job from both of them. Okay, next is Yeet to Alive. Now, Yeet has had a great year. Anything this guy drops goes viral, and he still has the next step to take in his career. Next is Joji with Smithereens. Just a really short and sweet album. It's literally only 24 minutes. But like it's 9 songs and a lot of them are short. But either way, like Glimpse of Us is great. Die for You is great. Even like he has some demos and short ones on like the second half of the album, like Blah 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 and you like it's just fun. It's just fun. I'm a big fan of Joji, and seeing him just have fun and just make some just nice vibey music. I don't know. It sounds kind of cheesy, but either way, I just liked it. I just liked it. Okay, so moving into the final 2 of the honorable mentions, both of these, realistically, they deserved a spot in the top 10, so it was kind of hard keeping them off. But, Love for Rent by Smino is an amazing album. I've been on Smino for a while, but I also fell off in between. Black Swan was great. I didn't even listen to Noir. I don't know, I wasn't tapped in like that. But then in 2020 and in 2021, I'd hear him on features. I'd see he'd put out like a few singles. He had the song with Kenny Beats and Jid. And so I really started paying attention to him again. And then when he put this out, I really liked it. I feel like it's his best work. I feel like it's his best crafted piece of work, that he has everything put together of the kind of sound that he wants. He reminds me of like Drunken Fist, Rock Lee. I feel like that's Smino as a rapper. Like he's just so nonchalant, but he picks such great pockets to go into. His production is really selective to him, and it's really good. And it hurts to not. I feel so bad not putting him on the top 10 list, but he has great features of J. Cole and Lil Uzi. Like it's just great. It's a great piece of work. And the last album in the honorable mentions, I fought with this as number 10 or on the honorable mentions, back and forth and back and forth. Unfortunately, it didn't get the nudge, but Herbert by Absol is amazing. It came out December 16th, but I've listened to it at least 7 times. It's so good. I'm not even a huge Absol fan. I feel like he's a little too much for me, if that, I can't explain it, but I saw Isaiah Rashad repost this, and then I kept an eye out for it. And then when it came out, I'm like, why not? I listened to SZA, I listened to Kendrick. They both dropped this year. Let's give Absol the nod. And then I listened to it and I loved it. Moon Shooter is great. Message in a Bottle is great. The Wild, he has a song with Janae Aiko, and they both match so well together. Herbert, the title track of the album, is one of my favorite of the year, honestly. It's so good. And even like he has a song Positive Vibes Only, and it's kind of cheesy, but it sounds so good when you listen to it. He did so good on it. He really has great lyricism that I've overlooked for years. But either way, really happy with the product that he put out. I'm happy for him. Okay, now that the honorable mentions are out of the way, I'm probably gonna need to do some retakes to make it shorter because I started to ramble a lot. But moving into the actual top 10, Drake and 21 Savage with Her Loss. Drake has had a really interesting past few years. Darkland demo tapes in 2020, and then Certified Lover Boy finally coming out in 2021, which I think is his most overhated album. And then Honestly Nevermind earlier this year, which like I don't know, bro. Let's just move past it. But then he puts out the collab tape with 21. It's crazy that he has. Some people think it's not. Some people don't necessarily count it as a collab album. I don't really care that much. It is what it is. They're both on it. once I get past Rich Flex, the rest of the album is great. I feel like Rich Flex is pretty bad, but the rest of it is really good. Back Outside Boys, Privileged Rappers, both of them are going crazy. Hours in Silence, I think, is the best on the album. And then Circle Loco, regardless of the controversial lines, he's doing his thing. Pussy and Millions with Travis, come on. Middle of the Ocean, he's back to rapping like, Drake. Jumbotron shit popping. Like, I genuinely made a face when I heard the beat drop for the first time. And hearing more M's with Drake and 21 on a Metro Boomin dark beat, that's what I was expecting for the whole album, honestly. I had no idea what it was going to sound like with both of them together. I thought the album was going to have a lot of songs like More M's. So the fact that we didn't get a lot of that, I'm glad we at least got one, because More M's is great. And then, 21 on his solo track doing his thing. Either way, they both did great. I feel like they both worked together really well. The cover art fits. The cover art fits so well. At first glance, I'm like, what are they doing? But I really liked it. I could argue that the two albums I left off the top 10 for this one, it could kind of go back and forth, but I might get more replay value out of this, so that's why it kind of got the nudge. Either way, great job from Drake this year, and 21 Savage did a great job. Moving on to number 9, Flawless Like Me by Lucky. Now, this is the perfect example of getting rumors that you're falling off and completely dismissing it. I'll be honest, I've been a Lucky fan for a while, but I'm not huge on the fan base. Like, I'm not going to know every single unreleased song this guy's ever made, but I listened to him a decent amount. The first album I heard from him was Days Before 3 when Lyrical Lemonade retweeted it, so I gave it a listen and I was automatically, so intrigued. I'm like, damn, I haven't really heard anything like this before, and it was so good, so I've been tapped in ever since. He hasn't really come out with anything that I've liked as much as that. And then even like the singles he was putting out, I was not a fan of it at all. And then I'm thinking to myself, I still really liked him, but I'm still thinking to myself like, damn, he's kind of on a steady decline. But then he started putting out his singles, like then he dropped Super Urus, then New Drink, then Why Not, then Coincidence, and I'm thinking, damn, hold on, this guy might be up to something. And then he puts out the album and it's great. There's not really a bad song, honestly. It starts off crazy. In the third song, you get Lucky in Future, and with Lucky probably doing the only verse he's ever done sober, because he wanted to come that crazy at people. And then he has a great Babyface Ray feature. 13 is great. DNA is insane. Brazy Weekend, and then he even has his own, a few songs that kind of have the like early 2000s style production with like horns and trumpets over like his style of trap beats, if that makes sense. And he delivers so well on it. And then it ends with, My Way and Cody and Cowboy. It's a decent length too, 24 songs for Lucky, and he delivers on basically every single one. And, Why Not as the bonus track to end it? Come on, bro. Coming in at number 8 is SZA with SOS, and Control is a borderline masterpiece from 2017. And listening to that gives me a certain type of feeling that I've never felt from an album before. And it comes with this certain type of nostalgia, but also like I'm not blinded by the nostalgia from it. Like it's well deserved of the feeling that the album gives you. And so then, years later, all the way in 2022, when she's coming out with her project, it's like, what do you expect from that? How do you follow up Control? The whole thing is a take on, coping with relationships and moving on and self-confidence and everything like that. And I gotta say, I'm extremely happy for her to even be able to drop, because of how, trouble it caused to even put out an album, how much hardship she faced. So for her to drop and for her to have as much success with it as she did, it's extremely happy to see. Kill Bill, we don't even got to talk about it. We all know how good that is. Blind is amazing with her just singing over just a simple beat. She moves into different sounds, like she tries to, she dips her toe in rapping a little bit, which I think she does pretty well. Ghost in the Machine is an amazing song. She even has like her nice little alt rock song for F2F, and I bang with that like crazy. And then she even goes all the way down with Open Arms with Travis, and I'm so glad they took this approach to the song instead of trying to make a Love Galore 2, because it's my favorite song on the whole album. They both did amazing. Another tiny nitpick is that the album is just a little long. I feel like we are in the age of longer albums making a return, which I'm here for, but only if it makes sense. I feel like some of the songs on here didn't need to be on there. But either way, an all-around great project, and she's gonna be able to let this breathe for a while. She can do her thing. She might even fuck around and retire. I don't know what to believe, but amazing. I'm happy. Coming in at number 7 is The Forever Story by Jid. He really did take that leap into his next level with, he's rapping the best he has before. His hooks are noticeably so much better than before. He's really doing his thing, and he's still rapping about things that he has more things to talk about, regardless of how much he's covered in the past two. He's still moving into his next, phase, and I love it. I think realistically, this might be a tough take, but I think the song with Lil Wayne shouldn't be on there. I don't know, man. I wasn't feeling it. I think that's the worst one on there. Other than that, the whole album is great, from start all the way to finish, with amazing features. Earth Gang did their thing. 21 Savage, Lil Durk even went crazy. Ari Lennox had a whole song of her just singing the same thing over and over again, and she was going crazy. And then even the last song, Lauder 2, amazing. The whole thing is great. Really happy for him to finally put it out, because I know how it's probably hard to, build up that anticipation for years after putting out DiCaprio 2 and then just teasing the Never story, and it's never coming out. And then to finally put it out and to have people still really like it, just happy for the guy. Next, at the number 6 spot, is Laughing So Hard It Hurts by Mavi. And what's so interesting about this is because it's been about like 3 years since his 2019 drop, and with this one he comes in with such a different kind of energy that's so nonchalant and laid back, but still delivers at such a high quality. What I like so much about the album is that, it's kind of like his speech and his voice. He uses it so well to kind of slur his words in a certain kind of tone, but is still able to tell a really good story through each song, and it's just really, really interesting to listen to, if that makes sense. Putting it simply, it's just an all-around really good rap album. He only has one feature on the whole thing from Amindi on a song called Trip, and it gives off really Jid Mariba vibes on All Bad. And his wordplay, his lyricism, his flows that he goes into, it's just on full display. Like on a song called Reason, to end the song, his rhyme scheme is just super elaborate. It just makes me think, how do you even come up with this stuff? As someone who kind of looks deeper into this kind of rap music, I just love to listen to it. I'm engaged from start to finish the whole way through. He did an amazing job. I'm extremely happy for him because he's so young. He has so much more left to do, and this is going to be able to sit for a while. Coming in at number 5, it is a debut album from Omar Apollo with Ivory. Now, earlier I was talking about how SZA put out Control, and it came with a very specific feeling listening to it that I haven't heard ever since that album. This is the only other thing I've ever heard that's given that same kind of feeling. He goes 15 for 16. There's only one bad song, and before that he goes 11 straight. Tamagotchi, I think, is the worst song on here. I don't think it should have been on there. But either way, he has some songs that are like he opens up with a great, smooth opening. It goes into the next song and just goes ballistic on it. The next song, he even has some stuff where he sounds a little Brockhampton-esque. He has an amazing feature with Daniel Caesar and Kelly Uchis. He does like a 3-song run of just beautiful acoustic guitars where he's just singing his heart out. Every song is great. He has a song where he's just singing in Spanish, where it's so beautiful to hear. Bad Life is an amazing penultimate song moving into the finale of Mr. Neighbor. He did his thing. I'm so impressed by it because of how good it is. This is going to be able to sit with me forever. He can take as long as he needs to do his next album, because this is great. It's a great piece of work. If you haven't heard it, please. If you just like smooth R&B and pop music, there's not a single miss on here. I can't express how good it is. Coming in at number 4, this album literally came out on the 21st, and it's one of my favorite of the whole year. I didn't know if this belonged higher or not. So I feel like this is the best spot for me to put it, but it can't go any lower. Beware of the Monkey by Mike. This is the definition of a gold standard for a rap album for me. His rhyme schemes are so diverse and intricate, and like his flows that he chooses to work with, it's admirable because of how talented it is. Because how do you even do this? The kind of shit he's talking about, like even if he's in the same category of Mavi and Earl, where it's like it's literally a challenge to pay attention to what he's saying just to figure out what he means, and to search for the deeper meanings of his lyrics. He has a song featuring a guy named King Carter, and it's one of my favorite features of the whole year because of how good it is. It's one of the best songs that I've heard this year, and the whole thing is good. The cover art is so intriguing, where it pulls me in, and then as soon as it starts, he goes verse for verse for verse for verse. He doesn't miss a single verse. First listen, I thought it was good. Second listen, I thought, wow, this is better. Third listen, I thought it was amazing. And fourth, I've been in love. I can't stop listening to it. I tried to keep listening and listen to other things to knock off. I didn't want this to be recency bias, but I don't think it is. If this came out any other time, it would still be either this. It would still be at this spot or higher because of how good it is. I'm so, you know what I mean? I'm blown away listening to it. I can't give it enough praise. I'm meat riding at this point. But for the number 3 spot, I have Good Movie by Pierre Bourne, which, you know, he had a really interesting 2022 where he had 2 questionable drops early in the year, but then throughout the whole time he was really making this, and I am ready to say it's his best work. After ending the Life of Pierre series, he said he was going to stop rapping on his own beats, but then he comes out with this one, again, fully produced by him. And again, he shows why he's one of the best producers of our generation. I feel like it is his best work on a production standpoint. The album, literally, Good Movie, it feels like a soundtrack throughout a movie, from opening, like the opening credits, all the way to the end of the outro and a curtain call. It's an amazing part. I feel like it's broken down into thirds because it is a long, lengthy project, but I feel like each song adds and moves into the next one. At this point of his career, he's 100% mastered the art of transitions from song to song. He has it down to a science at this point. You know, opening with Shorty Diary and then moving into X Factor, where he really busts out like an R&B type sound, and then going into Love Drill, which sounds like, I don't even know, like a gothic. I can't even put it. It's not under any kind of genre. And then it goes all over the place, where you get like club type scenes, like in DJ in the Car and What I Gotta Do and Peace Ain't and stuff like it goes all over the place. So I genuinely think it's broken down into thirds of different moods, and then all the way into the end where he has like the 3-track run to close out the album of Moving Too Fast, Good Movie, and Heart Say. It's an amazing adventure to really go through listening to, and you can go, it's something I can listen to from start to finish and then start it again, go all the way over and over and over and over again, because it's that good. Like, there's so much replay value with it. Realistically, I gotta be honest, I do think it's his worst performance rapping, but again, who's listening to Pierre Bourne for rapping, bro? His production is next level. It's out of this world. He did a great job. For number 2, I have Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. I feel like the topics that he chose to work on and speak on for this album fit so well for the year that it came out. Regardless of him taking, he said something, over about 1,000 days to put out the album. Look, being in the position of Kendrick Lamar after putting out, classic after classic after classic, my guy has so much under his belt. What more can he talk about? So being put at that kind of pedestal, and realistically, he's held at such a high standard, higher than probably anybody of our generation ever. So for him to really put out something, I can see how it's going to be hit or miss regardless of what it is. But I think he really hit it on the head this year again. I feel like he took a very complete different approach to what he's previously worked on, what he spoke about with, relationships between gender. He went all over the spectrum of mother-father, father-son, mother-son, brother-sister, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, cousin, aunts, uncles, everything around there. He had a great lineup of features to support him on the album, with Summer Walker and him on a great hook together. Sampha, yeah, Kodak Black giving his input every now and then on a few songs. Uh, Baby Keem had a great song with him. Tenna Leon, all over the place, and it fit so well when they were all meshed together. There's so much talk of him kind of going out of his prime. I can somewhat argue against it. The Heart Part 5 is one of the best songs of the year. He's still in his prime form. And then for the final version of the album, yes, it's not on it. I don't think it needed to be on it anyways. I feel like the topics he talked about were so good, and how he, went to approach it, I felt was great. Another great album under his belt. And realistically, what's the crazy thing is that this is his fourth best album. He still has so much better work, but it's still, by itself, in the year of this year, it's still an amazing piece of work. I feel like the highs could still uh, go up against the best of Kendrick Lamar. I think Mirror is one of the best outros he's ever done. I think there's so much in the album that you can take away from in so many different aspects. An amazing album from him. This might be his last on, I know it's his last on TDE. I don't know what's next for him. You can hint at him making his own stuff on PG Lang, but who knows. Great work and a great year from Kendrick Lamar. And finally, at the number one spot for my favorite album of 2022, I have Wasteland by Brent Faiyaz. I kind of knew it was number one for a long time. Other things kind of started to make me think if it would be overtaken, but it wasn't. It's been at the top since it came out because of how much I loved it. The story from start to finish of the album that he's told was great and intriguing. Well, another big point that carries the album for me is his growth as an artist, and that's what I love so much about it. Back in the day when a lot of his older stuff is just simple vocals over simple acoustic guitars, and in this, he's taken more than a leap. He's taken more than a giant step. He's hurdled over into his next phase as an artist. Throughout the whole album, it's so dynamic, and it's a wide range of different productions that you haven't seen him work with before. And it's similar to Good Movie. This is another actual story and movie being told throughout the whole entire thing. It feels like you're driving through a car, and it's man, I can't even put it into words. It has such a grand feel to it of how much he's elevated. Starting off with a little skit and villain's theme, and then moving into Loose Change as the real opening song, going into Gravity, which I can unfortunately say is a little bit underwhelming with him and Tyler together, but then it's still good, it still holds up. Then moving into All Mine, which is amazing, Price of Fame, which has about 2 or 3 beat changes, going into Ghetto Gatsby with an amazing Alicia Keys feature, going into Wasted Time, which has a great Drake feature. So it's all over the place with a great lineup of features, great lineup of songs, great performances throughout everything, production, his vocals, his lyrics by himself. Going into Rolling Stone, which is my favorite song on the whole entire album. Then going into like the Oblivion skit, which is a little wild, which leads directly into Dead Man Walking, which is such a great song. Even though it came out last year, it still holds up as an amazing song for this year. Then into Role Model, Jackie Brown. The whole thing is good. There's not a single bad song. And the way the story ends in the final skit leads directly into the outro song of Angel, which is my favorite outro of the whole year at his highest performance. I feel like the whole thing is just the complete chef's kiss of top of the line, S tier, high quality performance of an album start to finish. It could be very much biased. I haven't seen anyone else have it this high. But either way, I think it's the best thing that came out this year. I loved every second of it. I've listened to it way too much. I spammed it when it first came out, and I purposefully waited a while to re-listen so that to really test after I've listened to everything else. Would this still live up and beat out everything? And it did. Amazing work, amazing year, an amazing album from Brent Faiyaz. And where does he go next? He's probably going to take another huge step, because this was great. An amazing R&B soul project for him. That's my number one. That's my list. I know it's a little long. I kind of rambled a lot, But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. I do have a lot more to talk about. Like in my list, I have like my favorite songs of the year, my favorite beats, my favorite cover art, my favorite verses, favorite hooks, features, everything like that. Just for fun that I do for myself. I might end up just making that a video anyways, regardless of how this does. But either way, thank you guys for watching. I'd love to hear how you guys feel about anything, what your favorite albums were, what you liked about my opinions, what you didn't. But at the end of the day, let's all remember that everything is just an opinion. Mine doesn't mean any more than yours. I'm just the guy making the video about it. And yeah.